I welcome all of you to the meeting of the Capital Improvements Planning Committee, October the 29th, Wednesday, and I'd ask you to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
A couple of housekeeping chores. I do call attention to the bylaw that
Thank you.
determines the Capital Improvement Planning Committee's makeup and various departments that need to be represented, and we're pretty much in that situation. But we do not have a representative for construction activities. That's been always a hard one to fill. But looks like all the others we do have. There's also one that's supposedly a person who represents the business community. You represent the banking community, right? Yeah. Or the finance community. Yeah, so that position we don't have. But we always have a quorum, and we always have enough people. And then it talks about the capital items should be those that have a useful life of at least 5 years and cost over $10,000. And we need to, when we finish our work, as you all know, in February or thereabouts, we make a report to the Select Board and to the Finance Committee. So in any event, I also call your attention to the 5-year capital plan, which is sort of a background for what we do. It really doesn't contain anything new, but it sort of outlines the way to go about looking at our enormous capital needs and where some of the sources of funds might be coming from. So again, that's really more as backdrop, but it is good to look at that because it has some useful information. So I thought I should just mention these things today. And today, we have a robust list of items. If my counting is correctly, there are 17. And, you know, I know nobody has a problem working till 9 o'clock tonight, but if we get to the point where we're tired, we could always postpone some of these items to the next meeting. And we'll talk about the next meeting later on. So, the batting order is the Westport Community Schools, followed by Information Technology, the Highway Department, the Beach Committee. I don't know if anybody's here for that, Jim, you represent them?
I represent the beach.
And the Town Administrator request. So, why don't we get right to it? And the first group of requests, so there are 4, I think, from the schools. But I would ask you to introduce yourselves for the general public. We know who you are.
Michelle Raposa, Business Manager.
Fran Roy, Superintendent.
Good to see you. Welcome aboard. So I would say you can go right ahead with, as you put them in your order, or whatever order.
So these are in order, the way you see them as priority for us. First one being air conditioning and electric upgrades at the elementary school. With the help of CIPC last year, we were able to get a new generator at the MAC and the West, which was very helpful, seeing one of them had just died. So this would just be a continuation of the electric upgrades and air conditioning, which also would ensure that we would be able to have school full year, not necessarily kids go to school full year, but that way we could have a lot of our summer programs in that building with air conditioning. As you can tell, September and October have been pretty warm months, so it would have probably been very useful to have AC in those buildings as well. Macumber is fully AC at this point, which has been very helpful with the help of grants from the town energy consultant and also from Senator Roderick's down that we were able to get some additional funding there.
Let's make sure we're looking at the right pieces of paper. I don't know if they're in the same order, Jim.
I did not put
We
them in the
didn't-
same order.
Oh,
I don't think, yeah.
I don't think we got that one. You didn't give them this one? I've got 4, which is the playground, the dump truck, cameras,
What do you got? And then I have bathrooms.
and bathrooms.
yeah,
Right.
you don't have
The
that one.
AC one isn't in here.
Send that one separate with the 2 separate.
This would have been the one that I would have sent you that, based on how you like to have it.
So I believe, Jim, that I have this in the have it in the email when it was sent to you.
You want copies?
Yeah, so we could probably move that along pretty quickly here.
You can do the whole package, because there's one,
They only have the,
Yes, no, this is the rest of it. Did you find it, Jim?
I'm looking. I'm sure I have it, if it's, I have it.
Well, I reviewed 4 of them, made notes on them, so I,
Right, there's a total of 5, one being $500,000 for the air conditioning and electrical upgrades at the elementary school.
Jim, I can send this to everyone via email right now.
Yeah, I'm sure I have it, I just don't have it printed out.
Yes.
If we're just, maybe
one
I'm
there.
just missing out
One they
one, I
can
have
yes.
playground 150, I have safety cameras 225, I have the dump truck at 70.
Yep,
And I have the adult bathrooms at 150.
correct.
So I'm
That's
just
4,
missing
right?
move that one,
I'm
yeah.
just missing that one then.
And what are we missing?
The AC and electric upgrades for $500 for the elementary
Okay.
school,
If we
Yeah, I
take
don't
one and pass it down, we'll all have it.
but you have all the other
I
ones.
do have it.
Yes?
We
I
do
it on
have
my
the-
summary list, so.
Oh,
I was gonna
Yeah.
say, it's on
So
the
maybe you
summary list, I did
transferred
notice
it?
that.
we can resend this, I can resend this to
I
everybody.
have it.
Just this that we need.
Okay.
Okay. I think we've all got what we need. So why don't we just sort of rewind and just start again with the 1, 2, 3, 4? I know you've already started.
Sure,
talking
so
about-
these are in order, $500,000 for the AC and electric upgrades at the elementary school. That's the top priority. We put them in order, 1 to 5.
Okay,
All right.
We know there's an assessment being conducted with Eversource and Kathy Stanley and PTQ. We did ask for an update today, but was not an update yet. I don't know if,
Kathy is out, she's out for a week.
oh, okay. So we didn't have an update on that, but we know that they're trying to do an assessment about efficiency and the building and energy and whatnot. We don't know how it will play a part in this, if there will be grants available or not. So we're still waiting for information on that.
okay,
And I will just say the hope and intention when the school committee voted on this particular request was that there would be additional support from Senator Rodericks and also, grants available as we did with the Macumber School
Okay.
last year.
so noted, thank you. Okay, I think we know what we're talking about here, or we should. So what is the pleasure of the committee? Questions, comments, thoughts?
Is that the whole school?
Yes.
Okay, I mean, it looks pretty clear to me, and these are all fiscal year '27. Can't believe that's coming down to us pretty soon. Okay, if there are no other comments, then we'll put these in the hopper as we do today. I don't know if, Fran, you are aware that we don't really vote on anything today. We just look at all the requests, discuss them, gain information, answer questions, and then later on, we put in a ranking order and make our recommendations. So here today is really gathering of information and discussion.
So, excuse me.
Yes.
The only question I have, and it's not even really a question, everything is focused this year on the elementary school. Is that, with the exception of,
The playground is the Macumber School. The safety cameras are district-wide, that is all the schools.
Yep.
And the dump truck is maintenance.
okay, fair
So
enough, but I mean,
really-
the big ticket
Yeah, the big
items.
change items are basically the electrical, AC, and the restrooms at the
Okay.
elementary school.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, so that item is discussed. The next one being the Macumber.
Yes, so the next one is, last year, as you know, we had put the Macumber School Playground on CIPC. We had problems with our generator. We pulled it off in the last minute and asked if we
Right.
could swap those two out. The Macumber Playground is in very rough shape, but I've already put in a request to CPC to help with the playground at the Macumber School, which they are supporting, as long as I receive all the rest of the documents I need by November 7th to process that grant with them. The only thing we have to do is they ask that you have to have another source of revenue for the playground, so we are requesting the playground removal, demo, and prep from CIPC funds to be able to offset. They will not, they're telling me like you have to have a different source of revenue coming in to support that. We were going to do the fencing, so this amount of money here for 150, we're thinking now that we're gonna hold off on the fencing because we wanna wait till we have the location, the playground's being used by the community, how it's used by us, before we even add that on. So at this point, that number would be really 125, and removing the fencing. But we would be requesting that money from capital improvements for the removal, demo, and the prep of the site, working with also the highway department on if we can get that even down further, we would do that as well. We're looking at relocating the playground. So currently where the playground is at the Macomber School, it is adjacent to Osborne Street. It's right on the corner. We want to bring that playground up closer to the school. We have a pavement area that the PTO had paid for us to put in for like a play area. And we also have a couple of beds up there, one from the watershed, and we have our farm to school beds up there as well. So we want to be able to make like that whole area closer to the school. It's safer. Right now, the kids are right on Osborne. All that divides them from the road is a street, is the fence, and we've been talking for a long time. But the playground has many items on there. If you visit it, you'll see. I can actually share the grant on the application with you, just so that you can see what the current playground looks like. I'll send that over tomorrow to Jim, just so you can get an idea of it's very rusted, it's very old. Most of the playground there is probably 25 to 30 years old at this point, rusted, and really, it's done its time there.
So the total project, though, is like 450 or 4?
Correct, yeah, closer to the 450.
All right.
And CPC is interested in providing 300,000 for equipment? That's what I
Yes.
read? Okay. All
That would
right.
be the playground, the groundwork that they do for it, like a foam base type of thing, and then also sealing around it with some type of, I don't know what they call it, they have some kind of, they call what they put the trim around for the playground area.
Okay. Committee, questions, comments, et cetera? Again, I think we all know what this is about. We're all familiar with playgrounds, of one kind or another.
If we remember it.
Well, anyway, this is thoughtful and appreciative, and I think that answers all the questions, I assume. So unless you have further comments.
No, I mean, just the other important part of this is that this new playground will be ADA compliant. We have quite a few kids that are medically fragile in the system, and this would give them more access to the playground than they currently have.
Good point, thank you for that.
Okay.
Okay, we're all set on that item? Thank you. So the third one is dump truck, I think?
Go to the dump truck.
Cameras.
It's cameras, it's safety cameras is our third item that we're requesting.
It's in here somewhere, right, Jim?
Yeah, I think-
I remember reading it.
Back of the first page.
It's on the back
Second page.
side of
Page 2.
the playground,
Ah,
hidden.
I knew I saw it because I was reading about it before. Okay,
So the safety cameras, as you can see, it seems like every year we come for some bit of safety cameras and whatnot. So as each year, things happen in the schools, as the needs of our students become more, what would you call it? A little more needy, I guess you could say. Families, just the use of now that with the new school building is up and running, people are using the tennis courts more often. We're on the fields now full-time. A lot more of the community is walking the area. They're at the elementary school walking the area. So what we did was we did a walkthrough with both school resource offices because they were finding at different times that some of the kids inside the building also have now located where the hidden spots are. So they've been able to, kids are smarter than probably the school resource officers have been, and they've been able to locate different areas of the building that they can hide out and do things they shouldn't be doing. Same thing with outside. So we walked around with both school resource offices. They then did some research on the inside, outside, their visibility of what they can see, what they can't see. Even during games, we've had some incidents that have happened during games that the cameras have not been in that area. And so now what we've done is located all of the areas between all of the schools, even at the old school, because we have our out-of-school time program there, and there are sections of the back area that we've just put in, installed cameras there, but there are still other areas that they're being used. And when we're having people from the outside of the community using it, there are different times that things are happening back there that we need to keep an eye on. So this is kind of, we've tried to do a really thorough walkthrough this time so that we're not coming back every single year looking for this. We're merging video cameras with use of last year's CIPC funds, but we're trying to fill in the gap now between all 4 buildings of where we do need additional cameras inside and outside of the building. So that's basically what this is doing, is kind of picking up the pieces now that all the buildings are up and running, and the new school has the fields being used all the time. Tennis, they're using it all the time. We even have cameras out between us and the library area, just to keep an eye on parents that are parking out there, or kids that are going to the library after school, up to the elementary school, that area there, campground area, because we have kids sometimes that roam after school and even on the weekends. So we've tried to get this so we're not coming back every single year for some type of safety, so we did do an extensive walkthrough with both SROs.
Okay. Pretty clear. Comments from the committee, questions, thoughts?
You just said cameras at the old school as well, is that?
We do, because that's for the out-of-school time program, because they have kids there in the summer, and they also have kids there during vacation. So they are outside, even, like, unless it's below 32, they're outside using the swings and stuff that are out there. They'll take them out every single day, and during the summer, they spend a lot of time outside. So they're not getting a lot of cameras. They already have a couple, but we did notice that we have a couple of spots that are not visible, so that we're trying to take care of those.
Okay, any other comments, thoughts from the committee? If not, we thank you for that presentation, and we'll move on to the next one.
Dump truck is next.
The dump truck, I mentioned.
So last year, we were able to, again, with the help of CIPC, get one of our pickup trucks replaced. They've been trying to hold off on the dump truck, only because they thought getting the new pickup would be able to help offset that. But the use of the dump truck is very useful now, especially with all the equipment we're moving on the new fields, and then moving equipment from the old fields back up to the new fields and vice versa. So the current truck that they have, we've dropped off over in Westport, and they are telling us that it really needs to be replaced, that the floor is rotting. They're working with somebody in town to be able to, and also I believe with Highway, to be able to get the chemicals to winterize or seal the bottom of all of our vehicles because of living in New England. So we're working on that with our new vans and also with that. But I guess there's a minor gas leak, and they're just saying that it's very unsafe to drive. So they did get a quote. It was like $68,000, so we did put 70 here, because by the time we were to get it, we probably would be paying a little bit more increase. And so that is a replacement of the current dump truck that we do have, which we then do try to repurpose to anybody else that wants it. I mean, that's been a benefit right now. Just like the used van from the Council on Aging, we received theirs. It was a huge savings to the district, huge savings. We was probably saving ourselves almost $100,000 a year by having the Council on Aging truck, special ed van that we have of theirs. And ours finally that one just is on its way out, and already speaking with Bev, she's going to, when she gets her new van, we're going to take over that one again. So it is a huge cost savings to the district. Like, we have our vans out every single day somewhere.
Okay. Again, I think this is fairly clear. Questions, comments?
Straightforward, just this price of 70 or 68,000 is for a new truck?
A new truck.
That's for a new truck?
Yes, new dump truck.
Did-
It's just a basic, simple dump truck.
Yeah, no,
No bells, whistles, and
I get it. Did anybody ever investigate a low mileage used as opposed?
I don't believe so. It's something that I could talk to Kim to find out.
Okay, no, that was it, Michelle, thanks.
Yeah, I guess a good question, but the trade-off there would be with a new one, you keep these a long time. They're like
Yeah,
police
we do.
vehicles. So in the long run, it might be better served by having a new one. Huh?
It might. I mean, I'm only speculating that recently I've seen trucks and cars 18, 20,000 miles that are on lots right now.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
and anyway, I don't want to nickel and dime it in the entire request of all the departments. That's pretty, it's a pretty small change.
But a good thought nonetheless, so thank you for that. Any further comments? Okay, that's the fourth item. The fifth one is the restrooms?
Yes. So currently at the elementary school, we have 70 staff members over there, and we only have one men and one women's stall. So based on, it's quite a lot when you're having everybody go to lunch, and if you have 25 people going to lunch at a time, and then you only have 21 minutes for lunch, and then you have to have everybody get in, it doesn't seem feasible. So they have been a lot of talk between the staffing over there with the principals and then with us over the last 2 years about adding on some additional bathrooms on a different wing of the building, so that way they're more accessible to everyone, and just so that we can put in some extra bathrooms for staff to use.
Okay, well, it's pretty understandable why this is needed. Again, committee comments?
Would that be redoing an existing bathroom?
No, that's adding on a bathroom. So we do have a location in the building that would be, but we would definitely need to, get the building department to come out, look at everything, check the plans and whatnot.
All your piping's underground, right under the floors?
Yes. We do have a student bathroom that's close by, which is backs it. So the area that we were looking at has a boys and girls room right behind it. So I don't know nothing about plumbing, but I would think that there would be some type of, obviously it's newer codes that, with that bathroom coming in.
Anything else? Okay, I guess think that concludes your items.
concludes-
We thank
that
you for
does.
those, very informative and well-written. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank
See you
you.
again. Good luck.
Do you want me to send this to you, Jen, this pack?
No, I have it.
Okay.
Yeah, I just didn't print it, didn't.
And I did just send out to the whole committee
This one?
the one that was missing there.
Yep,
Okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Thank you, everybody.
thank you.
Ladies' bathroom. You see it at Fenway Park, the
I was
line.
going to say, even here, the men's room downstairs is used by mostly women.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay,
Pardon me.
Okay. Pardon me, Mr. Chair, thank you.
that's okay, I was trying to get organized here myself. All right, well, that was a good discussion on those items that are needed by the schools and well presented, as I mentioned. Now we have a number of IT items. Mr. Keith Novo, you want to join us up here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 7 IT items. Now, some relate to various departments, we understand as we read them.
Sure.
But this is a robust list, and some of them are kind of expensive, but we're going to talk about that. So is the first one the cameras?
So I put them in a little order if I could, and I did notice I had a cut and paste error on a few of them on the titles there, so they might have been a little confusing, so I'll call out, what needs to be changed on the title, just so we can do that. But the first one I wanted to, which I thought was the most important, what I consider number 1 on my list is, it probably says PD server workstation, so I just cross out server, it's just for PD workstations, and that's for $75,000. So the workstations at the police department, 9 years old. A couple of years ago, I went around at the chief's request, put in some new hard drives, like SSD drives, to make them faster, put in more memory. That extended the life a couple of years, but it only goes so far. So recently, myself and the deputy, we submitted for a grant. We got some grant money. We started replacing a few of the workstations there at the police station. So this amount is to cover the remainder of the workstations that are there that weren't covered under the grant. So these are replacements for the current, police department computers.
So which item is this? I may have them out of
Well,
order.
I think it's out of order.
$75,000.
75. It says PD server and workstations, but it's just PD workstations.
35,000.
Yeah.
This must be further in here.
Mr. Chair, I just,
Julian?
out of curiosity, are any of these, through you, Mr. Chair, are any of these, were any of these damaged during a lightning strike or anything like this, or is this completely separate from any of that?
It's separate. There was some things that were damaged, but it wasn't any of the computers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I have the right paper in front of me now, and as you have described it, it's pretty clear, so I would entertain questions and comments from the committee.
Pretty straightforward.
The next item of importance that I would say is the titled Town Servers installation. That was for $150,000. That was a replacement of the current servers. So there's several of them. There's 3. This would replace the servers. The current servers are 6 years old. By the time we got any money in, did all the research, getting the hardware in and everything, they'd obviously be, much older. I try not to let servers go too long, in the buy process there. Just, they are keeping up, the entire town, police, fire. So I don't want those to fail at an inopportune moment, right? So I try to keep those replaced at a fairly regular, usually in the 6 to 7 year period. I try to replace them. So this request is to replace those servers.
Okay.
These are in a ranking order, in other words?
As I'm talking about them, they're in ranking order,
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm numbering that way.
So they're different than this, which is in the
Yeah,
middle.
that's just
of
a
those.
summary, those aren't necessarily in order.
Yeah.
Okay, so your narrative is the priority rank.
Yes,
Okay, great.
yes.
No, that's good to know.
Yeah, and this later will be updated.
Updated and changed.
Priorities.
Okay, that's great. Thank
Yep.
you.
Okay.
Okay, continuing on?
The second one is called data backup, and there's 2 called data backup, but the one for 20,000 data backup is the one I'm talking about right now. So each of the servers, they have these data backup devices that will do what they say. They back up all the data off the servers, and then in the process, they also upload it to a secure cloud location. So these devices are old. They're 8 years old, 8 or 9 years old now. They're out of warranty. They are not supported by the company. They strongly recommend that we get the latest model, so that way it'll again be under warranty and continue to back up all of the data, all the service for the servers that we have throughout the town there.
So this is a $20,000 one that you've articulated.
Yes.
The current dated devices are 8 years old.
Yep.
Okay. Comments, questions on this? Okay, we could move on to the next one.
All right. So the fourth one that I have, it's the second one that says data backup, but it really should say, and I apologize, it's fire department camera installation. So it says installing cameras at Fire Station 1 and 2. And the amount, I'd just gotten an updated cost estimate from the vendor. So right now it says $83,500. My updated number was $114,000, sorry.
I know I have that here somewhere because I was looking at it.
And this is for new cameras at the, both, like I said, in both fire stations. So obviously, there's a lot of hardware at the fire stations, both fire stations. Doors are open, all that stuff. Speaking with the chief, he would like to be able to, monitor the outside and the apparatus room, with cameras there. So this is to basically to run new network connections to all of those locations and install cameras at all of those locations, and then provide for the backup, like it's like a 30-day service backup of all the data and everything. So this request is to cover both stations, inside and outside, with cameras at the request of the department there.
Okay, questions?
Couple of questions here.
Sure.
So currently, there are no cameras?
That's
at
correct.
the fire stations? Okay. The only question I would have regarding the installation, do those buildings have Wi-Fi? Would it be necessary to be hardwired, the cameras to be hardwired, or?
You do, at some point, you have to get power to them. Now, whether you bring AC power or you run power over Ethernet, I mean, so it's the same to run an Ethernet cable that you provide power over. And that's pretty much the standard, in the industry now, which is PoE, power over Ethernet, and just getting that to them.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So, excuse me, tagging off on Christopher's question, is that cooked into the books of the number you gave us? In other words, getting full power, whether it's through an Ethernet or through, the
Yep.
standard electrical lines. Is
So
this a complete deal, or is this going to be something that is going to come back and say, well, we need another 25 for ABCD?
Yep, so the network switches are what provide the power. I have a stack of network switches in each of the buildings.
Okay,
That will cover the quantity of the cameras. So they will get there. The last time I had updated all of them, I made sure that all the network switches had PoE capabilities, power over Ethernet capabilities. So now I can, and I have the density
okay,
quantity in each of those switches to handle that, so.
great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks. So that number 83.5 is now what, 115? Is that?
114.
114?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I put an estimate before, as we were doing this, and I hadn't gotten the quotes back, but I just got the
That's
quotes back.
fine, I
Yep.
just wanted to update. Thank you.
Yep.
Things are moving here.
Oh, yeah. And they're not going down.
Bye, Faith, before it's too late.
Nothing ever seems to go down, I'm sorry.
And are these live stream, or are these just recording what's out there and available if you need to?
They are recording, someone can look at them and watch them live if they want to, yes. So if the fire department said, they wanted to have a computer that had those up, they'd be able to have, to watch those as they,
It's more for security?
more for security. Right, we have cameras at Town Hall, Annex, Police Station, right? Most of the big buildings all seem to have cameras. We just never got around to the fire department, so I think it's time.
Okay, any,
Good.
yes, Al?
No, I'm good.
Are you all set? Okay. The next item?
Next one says, Town Hall server workstations, so I would just cross off server, it's Town Hall workstations. So this is to replace, when I say Town Hall, I'm town offices, so it includes the annex, Council on Aging, highway, all of the cemetery, all of the harbor master, so it includes all of those, so.
By the way, excuse me, is this the one that's 287,000?
Yes.
287,
Got
yes.
it.
Okay.
It's referred to as TH server. the town.
Yep. So the current workstations are 5 years old. I'm looking at upgrading them with memory right now to extend some of the usefulness. Until we can get something new in place there. But they are getting older. As people use them, they get a little bit of wear and tear on them. Things get tied up in registry and things get a little bit slower. Items like antivirus software, they're always coming out with new patches and updates and new looks for it. So as some of the background processes, get updated, like antivirus, it starts to take more resources away from the computer. So even though something worked, 5 years ago, over time, you've got other applications that have grown, and you start to you basically outgrow the computer over time, with a lot of those things like antivirus and monitoring and all of those things that happen in the background. So I put this as number 5, so that way we can get that on here and start thinking about that we need to start replacing the computers that we're using.
But it is correct here that these current stations are 5 years old? That doesn't seem like a long time to me. I have a computer that's a lot older than that.
Yep.
They're older than that, though, right? We've been using them
They're-
for 5 years, and they were,
5 or 6 6-year, they're in the 5-6-year range. And like I say, by the time you get money in, by the time you get everything done, you're
Those
in.
were purchased in 2019, weren't they, or 2020, right at the beginning of 2020?
Some of that came in,
COVID.
I think that was with CARES
Yeah,
money,
CARES money.
right?
That's,
Yeah, I think that was with the CARES money, so it was right around that time period. So they're in 5-year range.
Yeah,
But that's it,
yeah, but by
5
the
years?
time this gets approved, it's
About
going to be closer to
I'm
6.
kind of shocked at that. I mean, I'm due for a new computer, I will admit, but I've gotten more than 5 years out of it. And, well, I'm worried about, if this is every 5-year event, we're going to run out of money.
Yeah, but you're still on a 14.4 baud dial-up, so, I mean,
Well, sometimes the old methods work well.
Home computer, I mean, people get the computer, right, home computers are different. When you're using your home computer, you tend to have less stuff on there, less business. I mean, when you start
Yeah.
putting a lot of business applications, and then you start layering in all your antivirus and URL web monitoring and all those other things on there, it starts to load down the computers and everything. You have stuff like Office on there, it's already getting old, so this would replace, the latest, Office and all of that stuff in there. So there's, so some of that cost is,
Our office is what, 2016?
yeah, so,
Plus, we use them 40 hours a week.
Yeah.
Every single week, 52 weeks a year, so you do that with your home computer.
No, I don't.
so-
Believe me, I don't.
yeah.
So there is hope for me, okay. All right, well, the
I
question?
do have just a quick comment. So with the school department, we have the laptops, desktops, and we also have the Chromebooks that we give the students. So what we were able to do is figure out kind of a tiered or like a revolving schedule so that you don't replace everything all at once every single year. My question is there, like, are there certain departments where the use of the applications, I mean, because I know what you're talking about when it bogs down. Are there certain departments that maybe might be a priority for replacement as opposed to the whole thing all at once? Or is that?
I'm sure every department would say they're the priority.
They're all
Of course.
priority.
And I'm not-
Financial departments are priority.
It's
I'd
sluggish.
be inclined-
It's
Yeah.
sluggish.
Yeah.
And quite
The
honestly,
application, it's getting sluggish.
I don't want to be in a position to say who's more important than the other, right? I mean, that's a bad position to be in. If someone else wants to come up with a list, they're more than welcome to, but
well,
I
it's
think you're
most
going to be in
important to
the
the tax collector, of course.
I was about to say, that one I think we're good.
Can't get the bills to her without the assessment.
But I try to do big departments, so I've done fire department all at once, right? I'm trying to do the police department as close to all at once as possible. Try to do the town hall collectively all at once. And you do that for a couple of reasons, right? Because you want to create like this gold disc on the computers. You want to configure all the computers to be, exactly the same, as close to exactly the same as possible, so they all operate, they're all going to operate and all going to run the programs that they need to. I mean, we have multiple databases, we have multiple things happening on there between the different departments within the town hall and everything. So you have to make sure that all those applications interact and work together. And you really just want to create that one gold disk for all of those computers. So I try to do them in groups. Like I said, all the town office as one group, and then police, and then fire as other groups there. It just, in the long run, it's so much better for everybody and for myself, so,
Makes sense, okay.
yeah.
Well, it's a good question, because later on I'd mentioned of all the IT items, and they're not all necessarily IT, they're departmentally related. It's a long list and a very expensive list, and we haven't gotten to the big item yet, the $1 million one, so.
Yep.
This one just kind of hit me and said, wow, there's a lot coming up here, but you've explained it, and we understand.
Okay.
And if I may interject, before we get to the next two requests, I did send every member of the committee, just a required potential appearance of a conflict of interest
Yes, sir.
disclosure with everybody. I just wanted to make sure that everybody had a chance to receive that.
Yep.
And certainly, just put it in the record for today's meeting as well.
Looks like
before we
everything's
begin.
in order, as far as I'm concerned.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you for that, Mr. Starsha. Okay, the next item.
So the next two, they were fiber-related, internet-related. So one was for and I'll talk to them collectively if that's okay, the fiber cable loop. So that was to finish the installation of the 3 fiber loops that were remaining in the town. and then an overall fiber cable design. So, as you know, the town has run fiber loops throughout basically half the town. That allowed us to connect up all of our town buildings. So right now, all of our town buildings are connected by fiber. And we've run that fiber out throughout the community as well. We were fortunate that we were able to get a lot of grants for that, whether it be federal, county, or state. And that covered a large portion of the existing, fiber that's in place. We've gone to town meeting on 2 different occasions requesting feedback from the community to see, if this is something they wanted to pursue to provide internet to the community. At both town meetings, it was received favorably, to be able to continue forward. We've done surveys throughout the community, and business and residents have all expressed desire to have, a high-speed internet in the community. So knowing that we've done everything we've gotten all the external money that we could right now. I mean, we're in an environment now where it's difficult to find external money. I put these 2 requests in just to say that, heard the community, that this was of interest to them, and they wanted to move forward. So I'm putting the request in to kind of finish the fiber loops. So there was a east ring, a southeast ring, and a southwest ring. And that was for the $1 million that was there to finish those loops. And basically what all the fiber loops do is get you into the general area of the neighborhoods without providing what they call that last mile, right? The last connection to the home. So this would allow us to kind of blanket the entire town with fiber, at least going past all of the major locations. And the second one was to do the detailed engineering design of, what do you need for all the hardware? What do you need for all the optical switches? What do you need to, cable lengths and termination devices and going into all the homes and all that stuff. So these 2 requests were just, I'm putting them in to say, we've kind of run out of options at the moment for external. Like I said, I did hear the community say there was an interest, so I'm submitting them based on, that interest. And if there's available funding, we can, something to consider, so.
A little more background, and then we can have some questions. Could you bring us, you've touched upon all of this that I'm going to ask about, but in terms of the loops, you said the 3 remaining loops. Well, how many have we done so far? What was the total of?
We've done 1, 2, 3, 4. We've done 4 loops so far.
So it's 7 in total, more,
Yeah.
And are these in a particular part of town? Is there, did it go north to south or east to west?
They basically have moved from north to south. We got the 2 north ones, and there's a kind of a central north one, and then the west. So the remaining is the east, and then the southeast and southwest would get the remainder of the town.
Yeah, go ahead.
Are all of the town buildings are currently connected on loops, is that correct?
Currently, all the town buildings are connected and all of the critical infrastructure, so that would include towers, radio towers. We just finished running fiber and the network to all of our radio towers now. Over this summer, we connected up, just for awareness, we connected up all of our radios over fiber, so police and fire both have, nice, clear, crisp, clear signals on all of the radios now, which they're very appreciative of. So definitely well worth running the fiber to all those locations. It was very staticky, crackly before, subject to rain and everything else, and now we've got good quality signals out there. So all the infrastructure, like I said, and all the current town buildings are connected, including the schools.
So I will say, Mr. Chair, that before even getting into the merits of the idea, I am concerned, if I'm hearing that all the buildings are connected, which in terms of municipal buildings, I think is a good thing, This strikes me as a want and not a need. And CIPC specifically is looking to allocate funds for capital needs for the departments. And again, this just seems like a want. So-
Yeah, it is a good point. This was well discussed and embarked upon, and recognizing that the funds were not going to be there forever. But it seemed to be a community need. There was impetus for it. It wasn't a willy-nilly process. You're not
No,
describing it that way. Then there was the thing about the light station, or what was it called? The
Power light plant.
power light plant, and is that part of this ultimately, or is that not?
At some point, it would be part of that, yes.
And town meeting voted for the creation of a light plant.
Yeah.
I do recall that.
Yeah.
I don't believe there's any expenditures attached to that, but I do know that town meeting voted for the light plant.
Yeah, and I think there was some change in the laws that was cited by Mr. Cole about not needing that right at the time because the technology was changing and we needed to take pause. I'm just going from memory. But more interestingly, I think I'm in the one that doesn't have this yet, but with people who don't have the fiber optic, I'm talking about residents now, what do they have? Just the old-fashioned cable, so to speak?
They have the old-fashioned cable, so it would be the cable TV connection that you had in the past, right? The coax cable connection.
Yep.
They've been able to provide internet over that, right? You can get satellite services now, and there's vendors that provide satellite services. Some of the wireless providers, will provide home internet service. So there are other services there. Each of those have their pros and cons. Some of those are limited by physics, right? You can only get so on your satellite. You can only get so much bandwidth down that. You can only pump so much down that, and that's a physics thing. The same thing with the wireless, with the radios. There's only so much data you can get over that at the moment. Hard lines are where you can process the most. The current coax cables do have a physics limit. They've been improving that over time, but there's still a physics limit. The best solution that anyone will tell you is getting fiber. To get the maximum amount of data down the line is always going to be fiber, for any time in the near future.
What is I'll call it the half-life of fiber? How long can we look forward to the method?
Cable companies, they warrant their fiber for 25 years, but there's fiber out there 40, 50 years. So, does it break? Does someone knock a pole down? Sure, but same thing with coax, right? You just go out and you repair it and you move on.
Okay, those are my questions. Questions from the committee?
I do have one. Define a loop. Is this like, and I'm going to be very fundamental because I'm trying to understand this. Is this like a water line in Northwestport, for example, where you bring the loop
Yep.
to the home, and then it's up to an individual to decide to tie in? Is it automatic? I'm a little bit fuzzy on what is meant by a loop.
Okay, sure. So when we looked at for the municipality, for the buildings, right, for the town buildings, we ran basically a backbone right through the center of town. So from north to south, we have this backbone fiber. It's got a large bundle of fiber strands in there. And then off of that backbone, you have what they call loops. So it's another strand, it's a smaller bundle, because you don't have to carry as many as the backbone. But you have a smaller bundle that will won't run through neighborhood, but past neighborhood. So you might have a primary street where you run the fiber down, this primary street, and you have all these side streets that come off of it. So you would just run this loop past all the neighborhoods.
Okay.
Right, and it would eventually kind of loop back to either another loop or to the backbone. Generally back to the backbone there, and that provides redundancy because then you have what they consider as kind of counter-rotating rings almost. So you have fiber, so if fiber were to break, they'd be able to make it back to the backbone one way, or if it broke, it would make it back to the backbone the other way. So you provide some redundancy in there by creating this loop back to the backbone.
Okay.
And then from that loop, that's when you would go out that last mile to the home. So from that loop, then you'd say, okay, I'd go down this street, or this street, or this street, right? And then that strand would break off to, each of the homes at that point. So you're getting the fiber as close to the neighborhood as possible without getting to the
Without
home.
getting into the neighborhood per se. And who pays for that? The last mile? Where does this structure come in? Because right now, we're looking at, we've already spent X amount of money in the town to bring the backbone, as you said. And we have a request here for $1 million, which will be higher by the time we ever get to this point.
Yep.
And it goes by a neighborhood, or what's the financial aspects of the last mile?
Yeah, we would have to look at, and this is always going to be the roadblock, is you'd have to look at what your financial possibilities are. Would you be able to do a kind of a public-private partnership kind of thing where you'd have someone come in and help go to the last mile? Would you be able to get, a loan against that, and then, pay back the loan based on the fees of the, the end users that were using that? So it's always going to be a challenge to do that last mile there.
All right, so I'll leave it at this. So this request is to build out the final loops, if you will.
Yeah.
We already have the backbone in place, but yet it services, I don't want to say nobody, because that's not fair, but it does not service the majority of the taxpayers of the town because we haven't hit the final mile. Is that kind of what I'm
It
hearing?
doesn't get you the final mile, so
Okay.
it doesn't service the end user at that point, the last resident at that point.
Fair enough. Okay, I was just
Yeah,
trying
no,
to clear it up in
It's
my
a fair
mind.
point, yes.
It's fair to say that this doesn't have any service at all attached to it. It's literally just laying the cable, doing the make-ready work for the poles and et cetera, right?
It's just laying the fiber down. It doesn't provide a service at this time, yes.
And so there's no, I will say that I've seen municipalities, especially in the western part of the state, oftentimes they're partnering with another MLP that has already that is adjacent to a town and already has infrastructure. And even those builds are going anywhere from 20 to 30 billion, with cost overruns and everything else. So it's concerning that, one of the applications here is for the design with, the 550,000 here for just the design, which would still, again, require significant outlays to even begin the process. If we're dealing with just a loop, you're literally just talking about laying, $1 million to just lay the cable out, and with no attachments whatsoever. So that's, I'd be remiss if I didn't say that I have grave concerns, not just about this request in and of itself, but how much such a thing could eventually cost the town.
On this item, the $550,000 design,
Yeah,
design plan to deploy fiber to the homes and residents in the town, but we've already connected a number of them through fiber optic cable.
to homes, no. To
home-
town buildings?
none of the homes.
Yes. Yeah, no homes,
So that we did not have an original design plan that included homes.
no. We had a design plan to connect up to town buildings,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, that
And
clarifies.
there was a high-level plan to know where we would need to run the loops. So you go in with a high-level plan, and you say, all right, I know that I need to run these loops in these locations. So we did that high-level planning, say, these locations for these loops will cover all the community. And they use, they use artificial intelligence, and then goes in and plots out where the best path is to lay these, and we've done all those loops based on
Yeah.
that high-level plan. So the detailed plan is to say, all right, I need X amount of cable to get from this loop to this home, and I need this hardware to support that, right? So it gets you the very detailed build information, so that way so a vendor could then potentially come and take that and go, oh, I know I need this hardware, so it's gonna cost me X amount of dollars, right? And I can go and order this, and it's gonna take X, time to buy it and get it in and install it and all that stuff. So it's a very detailed plan, right down to every single pole and home.
Okay, well, that answers that question, and I thank you. For any other further questions? Okay, I think we've pretty much covered this. It's really two together, and we'll, is there any priority? I guess there's none, because they go together, they work together.
Yeah, either one,
Yeah.
as far as priority.
Okay, but it's very expensive. I don't know
It's true.
what we'll do for a source of funds, but we'll have that separate discussion at the appropriate point in time. Well, thank you. That was very informative, Mr.
Okay.
Yeah, it was great.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Good luck, and we'll see you around. Okay. Next would be the Highway Department. And do we have representatives here? You think we do? Yeah, gentlemen?
How's everybody?
Good, good.
How are you?
Not done too bad.
Maybe you can introduce yourselves to the general public. We know who you are.
My name's Evan Almeida, Highway Foreman.
Austin Conchina, Administrative Assistant.
Glad to have you with us today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Okay, so just have to grab my notes here as to where I am. I had a certain order that seems to have changed. So the first one that I have is the dump truck for $157,000.
Yes.
You can do this in any order you want, by the way.
We could just go in the order that they're listed.
All right, so everybody has that? Mm-hmm. Dump truck with a plow, I think we know what they are.
Yeah, and I think we're due for, the winters have been too nice for us lately. I think
Yeah.
we're heading up. I don't wanna jinx
We are going
anything,
to pay the
but
price here.
I didn't say it. The truck, it does come with a plow, but that truck also comes upfitted with safety lighting, toolboxes, pretty much everything for us to hit the ground running as soon as we receive it.
Is this replacing an existing vehicle?
No, this would be a new, because our thought is, we are currently taking applications. A lot of them don't have CDLs because they just kind of don't want to come for the money.
Yeah.
So this truck is as large as you can get without needing a CDL. So it allows us to pretty much do big truck things without needing a CDL.
Okay. All right, well, I don't have a lot of questions. I think I know what we're dealing with here. So the committee, what is your pleasure? Comments, questions, suggestions?
It's a truck.
It's a truck.
Okay, well, we'll, just, from my earlier explanation, we don't vote on these today. We put them in the hopper and review them all and talk about the sources of funding at a later date. So I think we have all we need to know here. It's well presented, and I thank you. So we'll go on to the next one. I have it as the standby generator.
That is correct, yeah.
Okay.
Again, like the truck, this is kind of like a revisit. Currently, the generator we have is not properly functioning. And if that goes out for any reason during a storm or any sort of event, the town doesn't have, we don't have power in the building to either fix a piece of equipment if it breaks during a storm, or just be able to function properly, but also our building runs the fuel pumps for, the whole town. So if we can't supply power to the pumps, the town pretty much will stop after a certain amount of time. Depending on the severity of it, it could be days, who knows? So this setup here would allow us to pretty much have a full functioning generator to automatically control the building and, supply fuel.
And is this taking the place of some generator now, or is?
Yeah, it would be a replacement. Well, it'd be new, but we're also replacing the one that's not functioning at the building.
Yeah, as I read this, I didn't quite understand it. It should be plain to most people, but, so this is housed in the highway department?
Yeah, outside of the building, yep.
And servicing the fire and police department, well, where do they go to get, is this, you say refuel, you're talking about refueling Gasoline?
Yeah, gasoline, diesel, yeah.
Talking about the
The
pumps.
tank.
Yeah, the
right out
pump,
here,
yeah,
right?
Right out here.
Yeah,
Okay, that's the only one, right?
yeah.
Right.
Majority of the departments are refueling through our department.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen vehicles there, I just, when I was reading this, I was saying, well, there are more that I don't know about. Apparently not. Got it, okay. And so it's really the technology that supports these pumps functioning properly. Without that, they couldn't fill up their tanks. Well,
In the
you'd have to
event
go
of a power outage.
Yeah.
to- Yeah. But it's about gasoline or diesel?
And diesel,
Gas,
yes.
gas and diesel, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Correct.
All right, got it.
Now, these two buildings are not connected when it comes to power or anything like that, is that
They're
correct?
not.
No, I don't believe so.
Okay.
Okay. So, I don't have any further questions now that I'm beginning to fully understand this, so, committee? What is your preference?
Just curious on the size, like, because I'm curious with the 40,000 estimate, what kind of size generator are we talking? Are we talking like the same as a Generac down here? Are we talking much smaller, or?
I don't want to say maybe not quite as big, but maybe a little bit smaller. It's a fairly sized, good unit to run the building, because like we do run, if we have to make a repair, like I was saying, like if we got to run a welder, like those require high output, and I mean, it's a decent sized building as it is, so.
Yeah, that was my question. I just wanted to make sure it was enough for
Yeah.
what the size you need.
Because,
Yeah.
right now, I mean, the generator that's there is well undersized. Like if we're lucky to run, lights and then maybe like a grinder or something like that, you're lucky, you try and put a welder on and then you're gonna trip it right away. It's
So
gonna,
it kind of works, but it's not just, it doesn't have the output.
yeah,
Is that-
if
okay.
it does, it's inconsistent and it's working.
Fair enough. Okay.
Okay, any further questions on this item? Thank you.
I do have a question. Have we ever thought of putting a separate, like, smaller generator for the pumps?
It probably wouldn't be impossible, but if the system already runs through our building, is it more electrical work? I don't know, that's just my first thought that comes off the top of my head.
It's just curious.
Any further questions on this item?
No, just a comment. I think it's something to consider. In my past life, I had multiple compressors that ran refrigeration, 72 at the high point. And now everybody is in the grocery business is going into a rack system. When a rack goes down, a quarter of your entire refrigeration can go down, which happened not too long ago. So I think that there is a point to say, maybe the fuel pumps are crucial, fire, ambulance, and then consider, and it doesn't need to be large. I don't know what the size is, but it may be worth coming back and just, or revisit it a little bit and, pick these apart. That's all.
Yeah, definitely not impossible. It would just be figuring out, like splitting the fuel system out of, because like the pumps are out there, but like the operation system that runs the computers is in the building too. So we would have to maybe transfer that as well to a separate circuit. Just, thinking out loud.
Okay. Any further questions? All right, and I guess it's the last one is the mini split, I think. $30,000, is that right? Okay, and we can read this and probably, we've all read it, but maybe you could just tell us a little more about this so we fully understand. So,
some of the rooms in the building are currently serviced with mini splits for heating and AC. And unfortunately, the R410A is going to be essentially banned, and that's what our units take. So, if, we're being told that we get them serviced, that they're kind of towards the end of their lifespan anyways, that if you need to service these, you're not going to be able to because of that refrigerant ban.
So the mini split is what we have here, right?
Well, yes, it's working yet.
Yeah, on a lot bigger scale.
Yeah.
Ours are more, I want to say residential size.
They're functioning right now, though,
They currently do.
replace them.
Yeah, they currently do function, but trying to be proactive instead of, we do have an issue, and then it's like, okay, now what do we do?
Yeah, during the summer, especially when it was over 90 degrees a few days, we did need some repairs done. And that's kind of when this came up. We had Family Heating and Cooling doing some of the repairs in the annual service. And he said, these are really getting past their point of useful life already. And on top of that, he mentioned the refrigerant is getting banned in the country. So as of today, they could still be serviceable, but he said, who knows next year if they can even get the parts to service them anymore.
Okay,
Okay.
any questions? I think this is pretty clear. Okay, thank you for that. And is that it from the Highway Department?
That would be it.
Well, thank you, gentlemen.
Okay.
Great job, and we appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too.
Okay, I guess, Jim, you're the lead singer on these next items, right? And the first one would be the truck for the Cherry and Webb Beach lifeguards.
The beach committee, and there would be funding through the Beach Enterprise Fund to fund this, but they're looking for, they usually get a used pickup truck or a used vehicle for the beach. In the past, we've been using recycled vehicles from the fire department that have been going to the highway that were no longer usable by the highway, and we would send them to the beach. This year, the truck was not able to, it was not in, the condition was not good enough for it to be driven up to the fire station, so we had to leave it down at the parking lot. And at the end of the summer, the transmission went, so that truck is gone. And we were lucky to get an additional year. They do have a small Gator, four-wheel drive little vehicle, but it doesn't provide shelter. And this beach doesn't have any shelter, during rainstorms, thunderstorms. There's no place, windstorms, or when it's there's no place for them to get out of the weather. So they use the truck for that as well, and also carrying the bigger equipment up and down from the parking lot up to the beach. You really can't leave much on the beach because it'll disappear overnight, so they bring most of the equipment back and forth. They've had a truck for forever, but they need a new truck.
I thought they had a storage container now at the beach.
They have a storage container in the parking lot. They still need to bring the equipment from the parking lot up to the beach.
Right.
Where is that unit? Is it on the
It's
Kitty
right next
Beach?
to where the dumpster is, right at the end of Cherry and Webb. If you went straight instead of going left into the parking lot, you hit the dumpster, and there's a pod there that they store
I didn't notice.
equipment in.
Okay, now, I have a question about financing. I know we're going to be talking about sources of funds at a later meeting, but this is an enterprise fund. So why wouldn't that be paid for out of the proceeds of the enterprise?
I think it would. That would be the intent, to pay it out of there, but it's still a capital project, so we present it to the committee.
Okay. Okay. And, since I brought up that question, is there enough money to buy this truck with their
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, okay, that answers the question. That's- Okay. Yeah, I've seen the old one, and its time has come. So this is, this is one of, the beaches are one of our key resources here, if not the key resource, along with the water, the river, and, yeah, this has some importance. Okay. Anything else you want to add, Jim? Or anybody, or does anybody have any questions? Okay, I think we know what we're talking about here. So next is to build a vehicle for the building inspector?
Yeah, this would be, I think, maybe a combination vehicle, building inspector, and also town hall vehicle. They've been using the electric car,
Yeah.
which is, I think, 15, 16 years old now. We've been told it's past its useful life, it's still running.
Oh, yeah, it works perfect. As long as I don't put
Not
the heat
helping my
on.
cause.
As long as you don't put the heat on or the AC on.
Yeah.
That's it. You can only go 5 miles, no, a little bit more than that, but it does, the battery is just gone.
You're not getting you can only go so far during the day, so if Ralph takes it out for inspections, you can only do a couple of inspections and has to bring it back
Yeah.
and charge it.
I was going to ask if this is going to be a gas or hybrid?
So I would recommend, we could look at different options. It may not have to be a pickup truck, it could be a, four-wheel drive. The car itself isn't really suitable for inspections by the building inspector anyway. He's going on sites with, driveways out there, so, it's not ideal. He's been using his own vehicle on occasion, but he still uses this vehicle. We've put it off a number of years. I think we're pretty close to pushing it down the road, so.
Well, what if, I don't think it says here what kind of vehicle you want.
Yes, so we're looking for a vehicle, and originally it was a pickup truck, but I don't know if you need a pickup truck. I think you could look at something like a small SUV,
Okay.
which gets maybe better gas mileage and protected by the weather. You could bring 4 people if somebody had to go to a conference or something, they
Yeah.
wanted to use that, they could do that. So I would recommend a small SUV type vehicle.
So even though it's not part of our purview, I mean, it's the cost, it's not what type of vehicle, you're thinking either hybrid or fuel as opposed to a total EV?
Yes.
Okay.
Right now, there's really no incentives for the EVs. This one was bought, I think, through a grant or through an incentive.
Okay. Which is really not, I don't believe anyway, is really where we should be discussing. Is 55 grand or is 40 grand? It shouldn't be where we put our money, I guess.
Well, but it's.
Well, I guess that
That's why I was
isn't fair.
discussing it,
but-
yeah.
Yeah, that isn't fair, but, okay.
Well, yeah, as I read this, I was saying, what kind of vehicle are we talking about? I know what we have now, it's very small and it's electric and it's limited, so
Very.
I was thinking of a pickup truck, actually, because I know I was looking at $55,000. I said, well, if you want to get a Toyota Camry, it's not going to be $55,000. Pickup truck will be, probably.
Yeah, and I think you can get a small, a nice small SUV for the $30,000 to $40,000 range too.
Yes.
I was gonna say, I think the SUV sounds like it would be a good idea, yeah.
Okay. Any further comments on that item? If not, we'll move to the last item, I think. No, the next to the last item. We get the select board in here for something, but anyway. Cemetery?
Yeah, so cemetery, the CIPC did approve funding, town meeting approved funding last year for the cemetery expansion. $250,000, I believe, from free cash, and we're gonna use $200,000 to $300,000 from the perpetual care, which brings us up to about, $550,000. Estimates are coming in at closer to $900,000 to get this work done. The highway department has done some preliminary work over there. They may be able to do some more this winter to reduce some of these costs, but the cost is still gonna come in somewhere between $800,000 to $1 million. So we're looking for an additional $200,000 out of free cash type funding, and then we would also tap in the reserves. More than the 300, we'd probably have to go up to 400, 450 to get this project done. Currently, we are pretty much out of sites. I think we had, last year when we looked at this, we had, I think, 270 sites available, plots available, and we use anywhere from 75 to 100 a year. The number's changing a little bit now because we're getting almost 50% cremations, which reduces, you can put more cremations in a single plot than you can traditional burials. These 2 new sections would provide 1,600 new plots, burial plots, which we estimate would get the town through the next 15 to 20 years, and if the cremations continue to go the way they're going, it could extend that even longer. But right now, if we continue the way we are, we're running out of space, and we'll be out within 2 years, I believe. I say that those are the new spaces, right? We're also investigating, we have some old cemeteries and we have some plots that have not been used. And this is not an easy project to do because some of those have been sold, and determining exactly what's available or what we could go after is not, it takes some work, but there are some available plots in the existing older sites that we could, at some point, we're gonna have to investigate and see if we can get those. There's not a lot. We're not looking at 1,000, but there are some.
Where's the land for this endeavor?
So this would be, as you're looking north, you have the garage on the left.
Yeah.
So it would be, even with the garage going down, there would be 2 big new sections. And
Well,
probably the equivalent to 3 new sections.
there's a section already used there that's to the right of the garage, right?
They've started clearing it. They've cut the trees down in that section.
Okay. I thought we were out of land, but, because we had a discussion a few years back about that.
This would be it.
So, just out of curiosity, last year it started at 2, now, then it went up to 300,000. Now you're saying 2 new sections? Was this the plan last year as
Yep,
well?
all
To
the
have-
way. And they designed 2 sections, side by side.
What would be the cost for just one section, just out of curiosity, compared, in terms of what we already have allocated?
I could get that, I'll get that cost.
Okay.
These 2 sections are next to each other, so there's obviously a cost savings if you do both. They go down and they excavate down 6 feet, they clear out all of it, they sift through the land, they put the material back, they remove any unsuitables. You gotta, and it's gotta settle for a year or 2 before you can start using them. You gotta clear everything out, because when you're digging for the burials, you don't wanna be hitting large boulders, so everything has to be pre-dug ahead of time. There's some drainage that has to be done, there's some roadways that have to be put in.
What were the estimates running when the request was made last year, just out of curiosity?
So when we first made the request, I didn't have the final estimates in. By the time we got to town meeting, we had looked at, and then we were looking at possibly working with Highway Department to do some of the work, but it's a pretty substantial project. Yeah. I will get an estimate on one section.
So going back a few years, previous town administrator had mentioned building something for the cremations. Has that been looked at again? Because I have family who have a place in Fairhaven, one of the cemeteries, and it's like this big stone octagon, and then they have like these little pieces, and they just like, it goes inside it, and then they just, whatever company comes out and puts the names like on the little plaque. I mean, have we thought about anything like that?
It's been discussed in the past. Yeah, we have some pamphlets. A lot of cemeteries are doing that in addition to the traditional burials. It's tough, tradition is to have a traditional burial, but we're starting to
Right.
get away from that. There's a number of residents or people that are willing to do that, but not everybody.
Yes? Jim, can you give me or us kind of the current, I don't want to be legal beagle here, legal definition of what perpetual care means?
Well, I'm looking at Nicole on this one. So as they've sold plots over the years, as we've taken over some cemeteries, smaller ones over the years, I think at one point, money was put aside for the perpetual care of the cemeteries.
Correct.
And that goes into these accounts. We usually work off the interest on these accounts to supplement some of the budgets for the cemetery and so forth. And I don't have the exact numbers of what we have. So we have the perpetual care account itself, and then we have the interest off the account.
Right,
Right,
it's the
so-
perpetual care monies that we take in are non-expendable. We
Right.
can only,
So when a plot is sold, there's a cost for the sale of the lot, and there's a cost for perpetual care. That perpetual care goes into a non-expendable trust fund where it sits forever. I'm not sure when that actually gets spent, but right now, we're just running off the interest. So,
Running off in what sense, Nicole?
so the interest on the perpetual care is what we can spend with Board of Selectmen approval. They're the ones that have to approve using perpetual care for any expenses. So in that aspect, we use portion of it for the budget, for the general fund budget every year to supplement the cemetery costs. We use it for any of the capital items, for the, smaller capital items, because you don't want to completely deplete the account.
Right.
By saying, whoa, we have $500,000 in there, let's take the whole 500, do this, and then there's nothing left.
Well, this was one of my questions, and maybe it's a concern, maybe it isn't, based on definition. To take $400,000 would come from perpetual care funds for this project, if you will.
That would not be able to come from the non-expendable funds.
Right, it'd be the interest.
Right, it has
It
to
would
be
from the
interest account.
interest only, the
And how much do we have in interest right now?
I'd say upwards of, God, I have no idea.
I can get you
I
that
thought we were
figure.
the 8 somewhere last year.
Yeah, somewhere like 800,000.
Okay, so, and we could go on and on a loop like this for a long time. So there's little money for the budget for additional staff to work the cemeteries so that it can be properly taken care of, but yet we have money to go and expand based on the same perpetual care fund bucket. Is that fair?
I would say we don't have enough money to do either, but we have to make do with what we have, and if we don't do it, we're not gonna have places to bury people in town, and we're required to provide that service.
So is that 800,000, that is interest that we could
Interest.
spend?
That's the interest, yeah.
So that's what's expendable right
Yeah.
now, okay.
And to go back to the workers, I mean, I don't know how it's, I know with the highway department, we are grossly understaffed. But the cemetery department, we have always had 3 full-time employees and 2 seasonal summer help, which usually goes from maybe a little bit, maybe like May 1st to like October 1st. We've always had, and I've been here 20 years, working for the town. And we've never, it's never been a problem with, needing more help over there, as far as I know. So, I mean, we are fully staffed at the cemetery department.
So,
Go ahead.
Do you know what I'm saying? We are
I
fully
know,
staffed.
I know what you're saying. I mean, this
Yeah.
is a discussion that
Right,
could go
right.
in,
But-
bounce
yeah.
off these walls like those old rubber, ball things, but
so a couple of things. One thing I'd like to do, I'll get everybody more information out this week on it, what we have in the account, what the actual estimate was, where we are for funding from last year, just so we have all the information. So I will do that. As far as the staffing, it's difficult, right? Somebody gets injured and they're out for 6 to 25 weeks. It's, and you go from 3 to 2, somebody's on vacation, you got 1 person. It doesn't take much with 3 people over there, and even getting summer help was difficult to get seasonal help. So it's a challenge. This year, the cemetery ran very well this year compared to the previous years. I think they were ahead of schedule with the monuments. The grass was cut most of the year. I received one concern from a town hall employee about it wasn't cut, and it was cut that next day. But other than that, I hadn't heard any complaints about the cemetery, and that's the first time in 4 years
Say a
since I've
couple
been
of
here.
years, there were.
We've struggled, and it was mainly because of, we had some workers' compensation issues. We've had some employees out on medical leave, and it doesn't take much, and it's weather dependent too, right? In the spring, we get a lot of rain, you can't cut the grass. You get a lot of rain, the grass is growing
Right.
quick, and it's just like, you get 2 weeks and.
I guess, and I'll leave it with this, and it's a bigger picture question, but this triggered it. I'm loath to find enterprise funds, whether it is the Marine Services or Perpetual Care, or I'm sure there's other buckets out there, that all of a sudden get sucked into the general fund, and the next thing you know, it's going for a project that really wasn't, or something that really wasn't, it wasn't designed to do. So, anyway, that was my question and my point.
Just one clarification, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, because it's a little bit off point, but you said the town is required to provide burial to all its residents
Residents,
forever?
that's my understanding.
Okay, fine. But then, like, any cemetery will ultimately reach capacity, whether it's 5 years from now, or you said before, maybe 16 years. So how do we reconcile those two apparently opposed ideas?
I don't know who enforces it, but they could come down and say, "Hey, you guys gotta find another spot, you gotta find more land."
You gotta find more land, and that is one piece of property that we can do by eminent domain. So if we wanted to store a piece of property that we wanted for a cemetery, we can do it by eminent domain.
Now, is it just burial, or does, if it's a mausoleum, cremation, does that count, or does that,
Yeah, I don't see why it wouldn't count.
okay. As to what Nicole said, maybe that's something worth looking into, just for,
There's a whole
density's
set of
sake
laws
and
on
all
all
that,
this
yeah.
stuff.
There is, it's one of the things has been considered in the new sections, right? So you get 1,500 to 1,600 new plots for full burials. If you take one section of that and you just leave that for cremations, now maybe you get an additional 2,000 spots, and you're not getting a cremation occupying a full burial spot. So whether it's, situation like you're talking about, or you actually have smaller plots for the cremations, it's something.
Who decides that?
Well, once it's all dug out, once it's all leveled off, you can cut it up any way you want. So that doesn't have to be done right now, but that would essentially be the select board.
Okay. An interesting problem, but this deals with it for the time being, but there will be a point where, down the road, where we don't have enough space, but one day at a time, I guess. Okay, any further, but they're looking for $200,000
Yes.
from the town, basically, whether it's
Yeah.
free cash or whatever. It's not going to all be, I don't know if this is good English, it's not all going to be from perpetual care.
That's right.
And that does bring out a question as to whether or not, maybe it goes back to Mr. Thrash's thought earlier, maybe we shouldn't do both, because we really want to spend $200,000 now when we ultimately will. But we got to get through one budget year at a time. Just a thought. For the time being, I would consider this, but we don't have to vote on this today. Okay, any further questions? And I guess, is this the last item, the select board I see here?
It is,
The
well,
select board is spending money? I can't believe it.
it's more town related.
Oh, okay. That makes me feel better. I was saying, what are we spending?
And this is just a general request. We've been fortunate over the last few years because we've had some ARPA funds and we've had earmarks to offset some software and technology improvements. Keith comes in, he does an unbelievable job. I mean, just coming in every day and your computer turns on. He's kind of a one-man show. We do have backup to Keith. We have Tech MD that is there. If Keith walked out the door tomorrow, it would be a struggle, but we could continue to function. But one of the things that we don't do is we don't have end-user type improvements, right? Whether it's additional software, whether it's equipment for the rooms themselves. And some of this stuff comes up mid-year. Sometimes we can get grants available and you need matching funds, but you don't always know what you need until the town goes on. I mean, technology is changing so quick that, what we don't need today, we may need tomorrow. So this would just be something to consider where we put money aside in an article or as part of the, I don't know if it's a capital request or not, but to put money aside that's available for the town. If something comes up where somebody needs a new software program, if somebody needs a new piece of technology equipment, we have a funding source to do that as opposed to waiting till the following May to do it.
But it's possible we wouldn't use 150 in a given
Yep.
year or something. You may turn it back at some point. Is this intended to be like ongoing, almost like a trust fund?
Yeah, well, whatever's in there, one of the things with warrant articles, right, they can extend, if you don't expend it all this year, you can continue with the following year or the year after. So,
Or 10 years if necessary.
Yeah,
but you also don't want to tie up money unless you know you're going to expend it in a relatively.
I guess my only concern is that I know as of last year, there were several different IT-related warrant articles that still had significant amounts of funds in them. I know a couple were cleaned up, but I'm not sure I'm curious where that
I
stands.
can get you guys a list.
Okay, because I see the merit in it for sure, but I'm just wondering, it was a large chunk last year that was still sitting out in warrant articles from, I think one was about 9 years ago. So if there's, anything there that could be added to this type of expenditure first,
That was
Probably
duly
the
noted
ones.
last year. We went through every warrant article, and we got justification for any of them that were outstanding, and we closed a few of them.
And I remember one particular, I think the largest IT line was a specific upgrade, so, again, I think the idea has merit. I'm just curious if we can clean up what's been sitting out there for so long, too.
I'm really good at that. I call them up, I call the department, and I say, hey, you get this money here, use it or lose it.
That'll do it.
I'm done carrying it.
Much work.
Yeah.
Okay. Any further questions on that select board item, so-called? That was supposed to be a joke, you were supposed to laugh. All right, let me get back to the agenda. Actually, we I think done a good job. I applaud the committee and the presenters for being able to get through what I think are 18 items in 90 minutes. That's probably a record of some kind. But anyway, there are no, I'm not aware of any topics not reasonably anticipated. Jim, do you have any that
I do not.
in this
know.
area? I don't think so. There are minutes to be approved. These were from the October 1st meeting. They were distributed by Jim himself, and he actually prepared these minutes, as I will be doing for this particular session. I'm hoping that maybe somebody else would volunteer to do it next time, but we'll see.
Forced volunteer would work nice.
We failed at getting volunteers in the past. Why would it be any different, right? So this,
Voluntold.
volunteer,
I've been voluntold to take minutes for a few committees already, so I think I'll have to pass on this one, but.
yeah, so these are pretty good minutes. They're quite detailed, which is very handy to keep and refer back to. But Jim is also preparing, as he's done today, his lists here, and you'll be updating that, I assume, every meeting to make it more current. So anyway, what is the pleasure of the committee as to these minutes of
Motion to
October?
approve?
Second.
Motion to approve, and seconded by Sue. Discussion on the motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. That passes unanimously. Okay, so the only thing that's left is item number 4, to adjourn. Do I have a
Next
motion?
meeting.
So moved.
Next
Do
meeting?
we have a next
Oh,
meeting?
I'm sorry, that wasn't on the list.
No, you didn't put it on the list.
Well, we should talk about that.
That's
Good-
the
good
48
catch,
hours.
Good catch. All right, well, 2 weeks from now, if we're doing the 2 weeks, it's November 12th, or if we do 3 weeks, it's November 19th. Jim, do you have any idea as to the number of departments or the requests that they're coming forward? Are we
This is
largely
it.
through a lot
This
of
is
it?
it?
This is it.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, if at all possible, to do the 19th. If not, no worries, but I'll be at the Massachusetts School Committee Association
Yeah,
conference
and
that-
I have a conflict on that day. That's,
Yeah.
12th is the Open Space and Recreation Committee, which is having an event tomorrow night at the Annex. And it seems like we're well on schedule. We seem to be moving quicker than we used to in the CIPC. I don't know.
Chair is very efficient.
Does that mean another year's?
You're retired.
All right.
Yeah, the 19th then?
The 19th looks good. Is it
Yeah.
Pretty much good for
I
everybody?
think
That
so.
works for me.
So it
Great.
is the 19th, that is a Wednesday, I do believe, and that's, so noted, okay? Now, we have a motion to adjourn,
Mr. Chair, I will send out an email of this list.
okay?
Maybe if the committee wanted to start to preliminary rank them on their own, and
Okay,
something.
all right, we'll
to
start
discuss.
thinking about that, and we'll have that discussion next time.
Okay.
We may not conclude that, but we'll
Yep.
start, get the ball rolling. Okay, anything else? Now, do I have a motion, or can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
What's this
Second.
about?
In the absence of any opposition to that motion, we are adjourned. Thank you,
Thank you.
Nice job, thank you.
good work.